Welcome back. You didn't just click on a video, you answered a call from that quiet, unshaken part of you that still believes love is more than words, more than games, more than chaos. You came here because something in you knows that true connection can't be forced, bought, or begged for. It's sensed in silence. And if you've ever looked into a woman's eyes and felt something she never said aloud, this message is for you. Today, we uncover the 8 secrets women reveal when they truly love you, even when their lips remain silent. Through the lens of Stoicism and Jungian psychology, you'll learn not just to see these signs, but to stand still enough to feel them. Let's begin. Number 1. Soft surrender, when she stops performing and starts being herself. She stops trying to impress. The perfect makeup disappears. The carefully curated image fades. And what's left is her, unfiltered, unarmored, real. She shows up in a hoodie, messy hair, eyes a little tired. She tells you about the day she cried and didn't know why. She stops hiding the flaws she used to fear you'd notice. That's not carelessness, that's trust. It's her heart whispering, I no longer need to perform for you, I just need to be. Carl Jung once said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And when she feels safe enough to drop the act, to show her emotional bruises, to be clumsy, raw, and human, she is letting you into her psyche. But what separates a reactive man from a stoic one is how you handle these moments of surrender. You don't ridicule, you don't fix, you don't absorb her storm or fear her chaos. You witness. You hold space like the mountain unmoved, but not unfeeling. You let her know that her messiness doesn't subtract her worth, that you don't need her to be perfect, to be beautiful. You listen to her pain not to solve it, but to say with presence alone, I see you, and I'm not going anywhere. That's where trust deepens. That's where real love begins. As Seneca taught, he is most powerful who has power over himself. So be that power not to dominate her emotions, but to stand still enough for her to unravel and know she is still loved. Because when a woman truly loves, she stops hiding, she stops pretending, she starts showing you the places she used to protect. And when you don't flinch, you become her sanctuary. Now comment below, I create safety, not control. Because the man who makes a woman feel safe in her imperfection is the one she loves without resistance. Number 2, emotional tests. When love seeks your depth, not just your surface. She cancels plans last minute. She throws a cryptic comment like, maybe I'm too much for you. She falls silent after sharing something vulnerable. And you wonder, is she pushing me away? No, she's pulling you deeper, but only if you have the strength to stay centered. This is the phase where love stops being a feeling and becomes a test of presence. In psychology, it's called attachment anxiety. In life, it feels like confusion. But in Stoicism, it's an opportunity to respond with composure when emotion tempts you to react. You see, these emotional tests aren't games, they are shields. And when a woman loves you, she doesn't test to manipulate, she tests to understand. Will you collapse under pressure? Will you lash out if she challenges your importance? Will you abandon your peace because she's caught in her storm? Or will you show her that your calm is real? That her unpredictability doesn't break your rhythm? That her fear doesn't define your worth? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And this is where that quote becomes reality. Because when she cancels on you, you don't chase, you don't sulk, you don't accuse. You say calmly, "No worries, we'll catch up next time." Then you return to your mission, your craft, your purpose. Not as punishment, but as a reminder that your value does not shrink in the face of temporary distance. Because here's the secret she won't admit. The moment you don't flinch, the moment you hold your center, she feels safe. Not because you solved anything, but because you stayed unshaken. In that moment, she sees a man who doesn't need her mood to feel whole. And that is rare. That is attractive. That is powerful. Stoicism isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about mastering them. So when she gives you the test, don't crumble. Don't explain. Don't prove. Just breathe and respond like the man you've trained yourself to be. Now, speak out and comment below. I remain steady when emotions rise, because when a woman sees you stay grounded in the middle of her storm, that's when she knows she can finally exhale. Number 3, mirror of admiration, when her identity quietly shifts toward you. At first, you don't notice it. She still wears her favorite scent, still has her routines, still lives her life. But slowly, something shifts. She starts reading the books you mention. She begins echoing your phrases. And when she laughs, it sounds like the rhythm of your own thoughts. It's subtle, almost invisible. But if you pay attention, you'll see it. She's not copying you. She's reflecting you. Psychologically, this is called identity synchronization, when admiration turns into alignment, not because she wants to impress you, but because she's emotionally invested in who you are becoming. You told her once that discipline matters. Now she's journaling her goals. You showed her a Stoic quote that changed your mindset. Now she sends you one back, not for validation, but as a quiet sign that your way of seeing the world is shaping hers. And that's the key. Admiration is not flattery, it's resonance. It's when your character inspires her evolution. It's when your strength doesn't just attract her body, it sharpens her soul. Seneca taught, "Only the wise man is free," and when she admires your wisdom, your freedom, your direction, she wants to be part of it. Not to lose herself in you, but to grow alongside you. So what should you do when you see this? Don't boast, don't take credit, don't romanticize. Instead, encourage her. When she reflects your values, reflect her effort. When she mirrors your habits, respond with gratitude. Say things like, "I noticed you've been consistent with that goal, tell me about it." Or, "I like the way you're thinking lately, it's sharp." Because this is the moment where leadership becomes intimacy, where your internal world becomes a shared language. But here's the Stoic warning: don't let your ego hijack her admiration. She's not worshiping you, she's choosing you as her mirror. And that is both a gift and a responsibility. Live in a way that is still worth reflecting. Keep your virtue intact. Keep your path focused, because the more she respects your discipline, the deeper she falls, not into your charm, but into your essence. Now, speak out and comment below. I lead by example, not by demand, because in a world full of noise, the man who quietly lives his values becomes unforgettable. Number 4, subtle jealousy, when her silence speaks louder than words. She doesn't scream, she doesn't accuse, she doesn't say, "I'm jealous," but her energy changes, and if you're aware, you'll feel it. She pauses when you mention another woman. Her replies get shorter, her eyes dim slightly. She smiles, but the corners don't lift all the way. Then maybe, just maybe, she sends a message like, "Enjoy your coffee with her." That's not just sarcasm. That's not just playfulness. That's emotional vulnerability camouflaged as cool detachment. Subtle jealousy isn't about possession, it's about protection. It reveals that she's begun to see you not as an option, but as a precious part of her world. And she's afraid quietly, inwardly, that someone else might replace her place in yours. Psychologically, this is rooted in attachment theory. The more bonded she feels to you, the more she'll monitor potential threats without even realizing it. But here's the paradox. She wants to know she matters, but she also doesn't want to seem insecure, so she cloaks her jealousy in teasing. She hides it in silence. She buries it beneath casual curiosity. And that's where your awareness must rise, because a Stoic man doesn't mock what is tender, he honors it. Epictetus wrote, "We are disturbed not by events, but by our view of them." Her jealousy is not an accusation, it's a signal, a quiet flare in the night sky that says, "I care more than I can admit." So how do you respond? Don't provoke it further. Don't play mind games or pretend to enjoy making her jealous. That's the path of the insecure boy. Instead, stay calm, stay clear, reassure her without over-explaining. If she seems off, say, "Hey, I sense something's shifted, wanna talk?" Or if she jokes about another woman, respond, "You don't have to compete with anyone. I see you, that's it. No drama, no chasing, no defense." You're not reacting to her jealousy, you're anchoring her storm. And in that moment, you become what she craves most, a man who sees through the noise to her heart. Remember, the most powerful men don't need to dominate, they soothe. They lead by being unshakable so the woman can feel safe even when she feels insecure. Now comment below, "I am the calm in her storm," because jealousy doesn't need to be feared, it needs to be understood. Number 5, her fear of losing you, the most silent cry of love. It doesn't come with grand speeches. It doesn't shout. It whispers through little gestures, quiet words, and lingering texts. "I had a dream you left me. Text me when you land. Let me know you got home safe." These aren't just casual comments. They're confessions disguised as care. You see, when a woman starts to worry about your absence, it's not because she's trying to control you. It's because she's grown attached, and the thought of losing you rattles the part of her that once swore she'd never feel this vulnerable again. Psychologically, this is what attachment looks like when the soul begins to invest. Her fear of losing you is not weakness. It's a reflection of depth. She's no longer protecting herself. She's exposed, quietly, gracefully, without asking for anything in return. In her mind, your presence has become familiar grounding, so even your absence leaves a shadow. This is where most men fail the test. They mock her worry. They label it clinginess. They say, "You're overthinking it," or "I'm not going anywhere," but with an annoyed tone that makes her feel foolish for caring. A Stoic man responds differently. He sees beneath the words. He doesn't react, he receives. Marcus Aurelius said, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." That means hold space for her fear without letting it shake your core. So when she says, "I keep dreaming that you disappear," you don't just laugh it off. You say, "I'm still here, I've got you." Not as a promise you can't break, but as a reminder of the presence you choose to give. This isn't about being emotionally submissive. It's about being emotionally present. And here's the deeper truth. When a woman fears losing you, she's showing you that you're not replaceable, that in her mind you are already a part of her world. And if you treat that revelation with maturity, if you don't exploit it or brush it off, she'll begin to love you in a way most men never experience. Because trust isn't built in grand gestures, it's built in the quiet moments where her fear meets your calm, where her trembling voice finds your steady reply, where she says, "I was afraid," and you answer not with dominance, but with presence. Let her fears dissolve, not because you silenced her, but because your strength gave her no reason to doubt. Now speak out and comment below. I meet fear with presence, because when she's afraid to lose you, she's already given you a piece of her soul. Number 6, her unspoken language of love. The eyes, the silence, the space between. Love, when it's real, doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it hides right in front of you. Not in words, not in grand gestures, but in moments so subtle, most men never notice them. She watches you when you're not looking. She lingers a little longer before saying goodbye. She goes quiet when you speak of another woman, not because she's angry, but because it hurts. This is the feminine soul at its most honest. She won't always say, "I love you," with her mouth. She says it in the way she listens, in the way her eyes soften when you're tired, in the way her body unconsciously leans toward yours in a room full of people. Carl Jung once wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." Her unspoken love is the reaction. It's instinctive, raw, and often contradictory. She may pull away just to see if you'll reach. She may smile as a cover when inside she's drowning in affection. This is where a Stoic man stands apart. He doesn't need declarations. He doesn't rush to label every emotion. He reads the silence. He deciphers the gaze. He senses the shift in her energy, even when her words are neutral. Because a woman in love won't always speak, but her essence will change. Watch how her body language mirrors yours, how her jokes start to sound like yours, how she remembers the smallest detail you said in passing, not because she's trying to impress you, but because to her you matter. You've already become a part of her emotional map. And here's where most men miss it. They demand verbal clarity. They say, "Just tell me how you feel." But in doing so, they shatter the sacred space where feminine love was beginning to bloom in mystery, in slowness, in trust. A Stoic man doesn't demand. He invites. He watches. He creates safety in silence. He knows that not every truth needs to be spoken aloud to be understood. As Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your soul is attuned to stillness, you'll see her love long before she dares to name it. So the next time she sits beside you quietly, the next time she doesn't say anything when you speak of your future, the next time she pulls away only to look back, know this: she's already telling you how much she feels, not with her words, but with her presence. Now speak out and comment below. I read what isn't said, because only a man who listens without needing to hear can understand the kind of love that women never speak aloud. Number 7. The paradox of her love. Vulnerability and defense in one breath. She tests you and then opens up. She pushes you away and then pulls you closer. She tells you she doesn't need anyone but gets anxious when you go silent. This is not confusion. This is love in its most raw and conflicted form. A woman who loves you deeply will contradict herself. Why? Because real love activates her deepest fear, losing control. When she starts falling, she also starts protecting herself. She laughs to hide her fear. She provokes to measure your strength. She appears independent yet hopes you'll break through her walls. You must understand this truth if you want to navigate the heart of a woman. She is not a puzzle to be solved. She is a soul unfolding. Carl Jung said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely, but when she loves, she begins that terrifying journey with you as the mirror." And mirrors are dangerous things. They reflect not only beauty, but also every scar, every insecurity, every shadow, so she reacts. She says things she doesn't mean. She questions your intentions, not because she doubts you, but because she doubts her worth to receive love this deep. Here's where a Stoic man becomes her anchor. He doesn't get defensive. He doesn't flinch at emotional storms. He understands that a woman who is truly in love will sometimes test you not to break the connection, but to make sure it's real enough to trust. She may tell you, "I don't know if I'm good for you," while secretly hoping you'll say, "You're exactly what I want." She may pull back when things get intense, but inside, she's waiting to see. Will he chase me or will he abandon me like the rest? Stoic wisdom teaches, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. So when her actions and words seem misaligned, don't react with frustration. Respond with presence. Notice when she becomes overly playful after being vulnerable. She's trying to cover the wound she just exposed. Notice when she teases you about other women right after a tender moment. She's afraid that tenderness makes her weak. And most importantly, notice when she stays. Even after doubting, even after questioning, even after chaos. Because love in women doesn't walk a straight line. It spirals, it moves back and forth, up and down, testing, feeling, revealing. Your role is not to fix her. Your role is to hold the frame, like a lighthouse in the storm, like a tree in the wind, like silence during noise. Be still, be clear, be you, and watch her contradictions settle into the one thing she truly wants. Security, not the kind you buy, not the kind you promise, but the kind you become. Now comment below. I don't fear her contradictions, I understand them. Because when you learn to hold her complexity without judgment, you unlock the purest form of love. Trust born through fire. Number 8. Silent signals of devotion when love doesn't need to speak. She may not say, "I love you" every day. She may not always show it with grand gestures, but if you watch closely, you'll see it. In the way she looks at you when she thinks you're not watching. In the way her body turns slightly toward you, even in a crowded room. In the way she lingers on your name when she says it. Real love doesn't always scream. Often, it whispers. And when a woman truly loves you, it's not her words that will prove it. It's the silence, the space between her sentences, the way she reaches for your hand when you're both quiet, the way she pauses before you leave, like time is begging for just one more second. Carl Jung believed that the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. And when a woman is in love, her entire emotional chemistry changes. She feels safe enough to just be. She no longer needs to perform, to chase, to impress. She simply aligns her rhythm with yours. Your silence becomes her comfort, your stillness, her sanctuary. But here's the challenge. Most men miss it. They get distracted by drama, by the chase, by the noise. They want constant reassurance. They ask, "Do you love me?" while ignoring the way she brings you your favorite coffee without asking, the way she listens, really listens when you speak about your dreams, the way she gets quiet when you're in pain, not because she doesn't care, but because she feels it with you. A Stoic man doesn't need loud declarations. He reads the language of presence. He knows that true affection often shows up in the smallest acts. The meal she cooks when you've had a long day. The sweater she leaves at your place on purpose. The playlist she makes but never sends. She's waiting for you to notice. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." And the same applies to love. Don't argue about how love should look. Recognize it when it shows up quietly and be the kind of man who doesn't need it to shout. Because if you can't hear her love in silence, you don't deserve it when it speaks. So when you see her fidget with her necklace while you're talking, it means she's nervous to be this open. When she leaves behind something small at your place, it's a thread, a bridge, a hope. When she looks at you during a sad song and doesn't say anything, she's telling you everything. Now, comment below. I listen to what's not being said, because real love isn't always loud. It's quiet, it's steady, it's there if you are. So now you've seen what most men miss, not because they're blind, but because they're busy chasing echoes while real love speaks in whispers. If a woman lets her guard down in your presence, if she tests you, mirrors you, shows subtle jealousy, or fears your absence, don't panic. Don't play games. Stay still. Stay centered. A Stoic man doesn't seek validation. He brings presence. He brings peace. And that peace becomes a safe haven for her love to unfold. Remember what Marcus Aurelius said, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good." and it will ever bubble up if you will ever dig. So dig, be still, be observant, and above all, be worthy. Now, speak out and comment below. I control my mind, no one else does. And if this message stirred something in you, subscribe. Because this is just the beginning of becoming the man who doesn't need to be told he's loved to know he is.